everybody coordinating using online tools. But it's really cool to see the turnout that we have had. As always, I just want to give like a quick update on what's going on in the Developers Alliance. This year, we've seen quite a bit of growth, but it's been a little bit different. Last year, we had about a 300% increase in participation in people. This year, most of our growth has been on the back end, working to coordinate with local businesses and the universities. And that's been a really cool and interesting process. We've gotten a lot of communication from businesses looking for developers, and we've had a lot of feedback from students at UAA and UAF about how do we get into jobs. And so really this year we wanted to kind of tie all of those things together, right? Like we are the largest developer organization in the state. And so how can we now take this to leverage what we've all built here to benefit both sides of the coin? Businesses looking for talent and talent looking for work. And so that's really kind of at the heart of what we've decided to do with this year's hackathon, and have sort of this baseline career focus. In previous years, in fact, last spring, we had planned on doing a career day, but with COVID happening, it just ended up not being feasible. So we wanted to just take those same ideas and build those in this weekend. So, it's definitely going to be a little bit different, but as people are working over the weekend, we've got a handful of mentors who have volunteered to step up and provide mock interviews, resume review, just general career guidance. If you're not sure where you want to go, there's a million different ways to specialize working in technology these days. And they're really top-notch, high-level people. So the first person I want to introduce is Melissa Moody, and I'm just going to do quick introductions. There's more details on the website at akdevalliance.com/hackathon. But we have Melissa Moody, who is previously a digital strategist at Google, Dave Beckberger, who is a senior graph database architect at AWS. We've got Adam Link, who is a senior software engineer at Coinbase. Brian Walsh, who could not join us this evening, but he is the head of recruiting and a project manager at Resource Data Inc. And I believe I'm forgetting one more name, but I don't have a ton of info. So I'll circle back on that later. But the way this is going to work throughout the weekend is that if at any point you would like to have a conversation with one of these people, we've got a mentors channel set up on Discord. So hop in there, ping the mentor you'd like to get in touch with, and from there, you guys can coordinate setting up a time for the weekend. So, I hope people take advantage of that and use it. And, even if you're not able to fully participate in the hackathon, if you just like some career guidance, definitely show up and tell people about the mentors or your friends or whatever, and have them come and get involved. We don't have any hard and fast rule on participating for the full weekend. We're just really all about coordinating and getting community together. So, that's something I'm really excited for. The other thing is that we've also been working to bridge the gap with local businesses. And last year we had a really cool project that Jeremy Swartwood worked on for Beaded Stream, and that was basically programming. It's an in-ground temperature sensor, and they needed to know what position each of the sensors are at in this cable that they built. So they built this cool hardware device that would take the heat when you hit it with a heat gun and tell you what order it was in the cable. We had another project that was for Assistive Technology of Alaska. There were not reasonably priced automatic door openers. So a couple guys got together and built an automatic door opener in real time that worked by the end of the weekend. And that was really cool to see. So as we're working on projects, it doesn't necessarily need to be something that takes a full weekend. If you've got an idea, it could be something that maybe you just want to run it by a few senior engineers and senior programmers. throw it in a channel and ping me or one of the mentors, and we're definitely happy to give feedback. If you know of a local business that maybe has something that they'd be interested in pitching, that's another great candidate, because I think I'm speaking for myself here, but I imagine there are other senior engineers. Sometimes it's just fun to work on novel problems for an afternoon and not be slogging through our normal backlog of work. So if there's something interesting to do for a few hours, I'm definitely happy to jump in and lend a hand. At this point, I just wanted to pass it over to Adam Link, and I'm going to put him on the spot here for a second. Hopefully he's got a AV or whatever set up. I'll give him a second. But to talk about what we're doing in terms of our initiatives with some of the economic development corporations around the state, that sort of goes hand in hand with what we're doing for the career focus.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. Can everyone hear me all right? Perfect. All right. Yeah, so we are working with a couple of the economic development corporations around the state. You may have seen a post on this in the Dev Alliance chat in our Slack channel. But we are I'd say right now, kind of in the discussions about how to partner up with new economic development companies around Anchorage specifically. The goal is to help with bringing senior talent into the state via remote work, as well as helping to bring more remote-friendly positions to the state. So keep an eye out. If you are currently working remotely for a company outside, we'd certainly be interested in talking with you about your experiences to understand better about how we can help remote-first workers, especially in the COVID era, and kind of grow the knowledge base of software professionals within the state of Alaska.
Awesome. And while we've got you on the line, Adam, do you want to give a quick background as a mentor?
Yeah, I can certainly do that. So I'm here this weekend in a mentor capacity. I will probably also be helping out with some other goals we have for the Dev Alliance this weekend. But as a mentor, so I'm a senior software engineer at Coinbase. I work on our cloud infrastructure team, which basically means that I am dealing with the codification of our infrastructure through AWS and Terraform. I also have experience running backend engineering teams and experience in the mobile development sector. So hit me up for any questions involving infrastructure primarily. Two shameless plugs here. The first being the Alaska Developers Alliance is a partnership with Amazon Web Services to provide AWS Activate credits. So if you are building an idea that can become a feasible business this weekend, please reach out to me. We have the ability to give about $10,000 in AWS credits to companies that are looking to start up a business or a side hustle or a side idea. The only requirement is that it has to, at some point, maybe become a commercial entity. So please just, nothing like your personal accounts. The second thing, shameless plug as a mentor, I do work at Coinbase. Coinbase is a remote first company. We are hiring. We're hiring a lot of engineers. So if you are looking for a job, please reach out to me. I'm going to include a referral link in our mentorship channel. So thanks for the shameless self-promotion ability.
Awesome. I'd have it no other way, Adam. Melissa, would you mind giving a quick blurb on your background?
Yeah, hey, hope you can hear me. Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Moody. My principal component of my background is I've been the last 13 years with Google, and my areas of expertise are primarily strategy. Over the last 5 years of my career, I shifted much more to work on product strategy around mobile. So mobile web is my absolute passion. I've worked with some of the largest travel companies, familiar names like Expedia and Airbnb, on their implementation of things like accelerated mobile pages and progressive web apps. So if you're doing anything with user flow, conversion optimization, how the user experiences your mobile front end, that's things that I love to get in depth with. But happy to see everyone here. Glad to support the Alaska Dev Alliance, and should be a great hackathon. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Melissa. And I'm going to just go ahead and preempt that by saying I want to talk to you at some point. I've got some stuff I could use some help with, so I'm going to reach out. Hey, Dave, are you around? Can you flip on and maybe talk about your background a bit?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there we go. Cool.
Yeah, so Dave Beckberger, as was mentioned, I currently work for AWS as a senior graph architect on their Amazon Neptune team. Neptune is if you're not familiar, is their graph database offering to go along with their many other NoSQL options. My background is pretty varied. I've worked everything from kind of, I spent the past 20 plus years doing, full stack development of many different types from many different industries, everything from, building, being a single person dev shop all the way up to obviously working for the largest cloud provider out there. Of course, my dog has to walk in with a squeaky toy right as I'm talking. My main background for the past 5 or 6 years has been pretty much building out distributed data architectures. So if you have any questions about, data, databases, things like that, feel free to hit me up. Curious about the best way to handle those sorts of, data flow problems. I can probably help you out. I've probably, made the wrong choice a few times and hopefully the right one once or twice. Other than that, a couple of shameless plugs. Just like Coinbase, Amazon's hiring quite a lot. They're actually hiring quite a lot of remote first engineers as well. So if anybody's interested, I'll drop a link into the mentor channel as well. And another little shameless plug is I am just finishing up writing a book on graph databases. So if anybody has ever been interested in graph databases or thought about graph databases, or doesn't really know what one is, but kind of wants to read about it, I'll also drop a link to that into the mentors channel with 40% off coupons. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. It's pretty cool to have the guy who wrote the book. Sweet. All right. Well, I don't want to take too much time because I know that we've got some projects waiting in the wings. The last thing I do want to mention is that I believe we have some newer and less experienced people joining us this weekend. So for those of you who are just coming, I would say, don't be shy, jump in on a team, talk to the people who seem interested in a given project and figure out a way to participate. And for those of you who are seniors, see if you can figure out a way to make some room and allow juniors to participate, because in my mind, it's all about mentorship, whether that's a senior or junior, whether that's somebody who's just getting started as a programmer and getting into their career, or just, people getting together to build. So if you're new to the Dev Alliance and you're feeling a little shy, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to make connections and help, get things together. And otherwise, I'm really excited for this. And I'm really excited to see what everybody builds. One last announcement: we have new Developer Alliance shirts. So this year we're going all dark. It's a very soft cotton. You've got Dev Alliance on the back. They're pretty sweet. We have a variety of sizes. Obviously, we're not meeting in person, so we are figuring out how we're going to distribute prizes and swag and handouts. But at some point, we will get a box up to Fairbanks to get distributed. We'll have a box in Anchorage to get distributed. And for the prizes that go out on Sunday for the HAKathon projects, we will most likely drop ship those, or a similar thing where we'll have them all brought to a location for people to stop by and get them. We also have some swag that I will announce hopefully on Sunday when we get a ship date. But we do have a bunch of other cool, mysterious Dev Alliance swag in the mail, so to speak. So without further ado, I'll pass it back to Arsh, and we can get rolling. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Jeff. I guess the next part is if you have a pitch for the weekend, go ahead and I guess just jump in. I do ask you to. Jeff is frozen. I don't know if you guys can. Do you guys hear me? Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I hear you.
Let me let someone in. All right. So if you guys have a pitch, just go ahead and pitch it. 2 to 3 minutes should be good. And it would really help us if you would put your once you're done, put your pitch into the Google form that I will relink if I can find the correct tab real quick. But yeah, while I do that, if anyone has a pitch for an idea and they're looking for a team, like go ahead and take over the mic.
If no one's gonna go, I'll go first.
Go for it.
I was planning on teaming up with Brandon Momsen. We are going to build a game aforementioned, not Bip It Bop It, but maybe that'll be the last level if you can make it past the first few rounds. But it's going to be an online Simon game, and we're gonna have a leaderboard, and that's going to be serverless. So we're gonna use Netlify, Airtable as the backend, React, GitHub, kind of integrate all of that. And hopefully we'll have you guys playing it by the end of the week and see who's the best.
Nice. Thanks, John. Jump in. Anybody else got ideas?
I got another idea. Using the same stack like of, Netlify, maybe we could all, since we want to get hired, we could all work on our own landing pages, I guess, and maybe who can come up with the coolest one, retro, sleek, whatever your design preferences, and have that off in the cloud. So when people want to see like where your Twitter handle is, they don't have to go to LinkedIn, but and we could all be kind of working on our own and see who comes up with the coolest one. I know that Jeff had people working on a similar project last year, and there's some pretty cool stuff out there. So,
was there not a list of pitches from the original sign up?
There is a list of pitches from the original sign up. So
yes.
I don't see all of those people on the call, so I'm gonna let people on the call, get a chance to speak up.
We might just have a little bit of stage fright, and if people would like us to read them, we're happy to pitch. I'll use a ton of voice inflection and go way over the top.
So if you just have some stage fright, like if you want to quickly like put in your pitch ideas into that Google form, like we can read them out.
I know Melissa has one. I think that would be great to pitch for the weekend.
There's the ones I have from the forum, the original sign up form, if you want to read those out.
I'm happy to go ahead and kind of put out there the one I have. And if there's no takers, no big deal. But I'm happy to read that, just to kind of keep the ball rolling. Want me to do that, Jeff?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Apologies. For some reason, my camera decided to not allow me to use it right now. But I'm going to just kind of give a quick synopsis. As a lot of you know, there's a major exodus from cities for people to work in different hubs. Actually, it's something that the Dev Alliance has been talking about with Anchorage, as Adam mentioned earlier. One of the concepts that I've been kicking around is to build a kind of, essentially a high-performing site that looks at the user who is looking to get. So if it helps, one of the titles I've been thinking about is workfromhere.org. So you basically are going to have a site that would probably have some kind of map component to it and allow people to look into different places, each of which would then have kind of a sub-page featuring their own best of, like what is the best of Anchorage that we bring that might attract someone to come and live here? How do they get a feel and information about a location without knowing exactly where they're going yet? Potentially there might even be some fun components of comparing between cities, right? So maybe they select Bozeman and Anchorage, and then they want to look between the two of them. As of now, it's simply a concept. It's essentially a location-based platform for folks who are looking to work from somewhere besides one of the main cities. I've got some more thoughts on that, but if anybody's super excited about it, I'd be happy to let you take it and run with it this weekend. So hopefully that's a quick enough pitch.
I'd say let's start reading them off of the forums, huh?
Sure. Do you want to do that?
Yeah. Want to send me a link? I
Yep.
don't have those up at the moment.
And anybody who has an idea, sing out while we're waiting here.
I'll just jump on. So I use and abuse the AK Dev Alliance Hackathon to work on my own stuff that I really need to work on. So that's what I'll be doing, but also like trying to get some of the momentum and energy of the hackathon. So I'm going to be working on an app called Telesom, which is for sommeliers and wine professionals to sell wine experiences to people at home. And I've been working on it since March. And I just have like a pile of stuff I need to do. So I'm going to plow through those, but happy to like chat and be around.
Very cool. Would you still be up for presenting that at the end of the weekend? I think that's a cool project.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Awesome. All right. I've got the master list going. So I'm not going to attach any names to these just because those people may or may not be here. So I'm going to just read through them. So the first one was an open source virtual tabletop server primarily for tabletop RPGs. That's a pretty cool idea. I think they're referring to something that would be like a tabletop Warhammer game that you could play digitally. That's my guess. The next one is facilitating calling on Zoom meeting members randomly. I'm not sure if that's an invasion of privacy of some sort, or if that's like the teaching tool where you're just like, I'm gonna throw a dart and you need to answer the question.
It sounds like a PG version of chat roulette or something.
Yeah, well, because it's everybody in the channel already, right? Okay, I like it. All right, a Firefox browser add-on for generating passwords based on selectable or custom configurable rules, more complex than a binary choice, including numbers, symbols, capitals, etc. And that don't look like, and I can't see because this is super long, but yeah, that's a cool plugin idea. And it sounds like maybe it's independent from a password manager, just something that's like easy to generate real quick. And maybe it offers, you know, some way to do like pseudo words that don't actually exist, but that might be rememberable. One was a smart jacket, heated and phone attached. That would be pretty cool, especially if you can figure out how to take that on a plane. That would be very cool. Using optical character recognition to easily pull names into a web app form. Okay, that'd be interesting. I'd love to hear, I don't know who pitched that, but I would love to hear more about what the use case is. I actually build tools that do OCR with my primary company, LegalVerse. Easily read and record commercial vehicle miles via Bluetooth dongle or otherwise. That would be sweet. Yeah, I wonder if that's something you can plug in, or maybe you can just like snap a photo of the dash, and once you know enough dashboards, you can guess what the odometer is on there. So maybe some AI ML type image recognition that could be done on that. Detect empty slots in a network rack from an image. Bonus if you can detect the exact equipment installed in each slot. All right, that would be impressive and very cool. Somebody tells me Jermudgeon submitted that one. No code in browser art generation with style fan or something similar. I don't know entirely what that is.
It's supposed to say style again, and it's me, Brandon. I'm working on a new project now.
Oh, cool. All right. Virtual reality environment to fire artillery. That's kind of sweet.
Is that first person view or third person?
That's all it says. A simple antivirus program that scans contents and warns you if the contents being downloaded seem potentially dangerous. I wonder if that is just kind of, to get away from like the full big bulky McAfee style antivirus and go with something that's like a little more ad hoc. Yeah, there is a tool out there called Clam Antivirus that does not have a good UI. So maybe that would be something to work on over the weekend. Remote AK SNR COM mapping device. Is that site reliability, SNR? I don't know. There was somebody who was requesting to work with another team over the weekend, but if left to their own devices, work on data visualization or monitoring platforms to present sensor data to the public. Somebody else suggested a virtual tabletop similar to Roll20. And yeah, I think those are the bulk of the ideas for the weekend.
I think the virus scanner seems to be popular because there's 2 people.
Yeah, I was curious if that was just me thinking I'd read it twice, but yeah, the virus scanning one is interesting that 2 people submitted that.
I think that could be one project to work on.
Also, if at any point, like, you come up with a project you'd like to work on, it is totally okay to change directions or figure out who you want to work with first and design a project with those people. That's okay. We don't necessarily need to know what it is right now. So there's plenty of flexibility throughout the weekend. Adam Link and I are going to be working on the Alaska Developers Alliance website, and our goal is to redo the content in order to figure out or to really target the website towards specific personas. So if you are a software developer and you happen to find the Alliance, how do you know like what you should know as an engineer? How do you participate? Why would you join the group? Why would you join a hackathon? And then we're also going to do the same thing for economic development corporations as well as businesses. So if you're a business, why get involved with the Developers Alliance? So that's one of the things that we're going to be chatting with Melissa about, is how to help us kind of curate and tailor that experiences for people who come to the Alliance, so that we can help onboard them into the community a little bit better and quicker. If anybody wants to work on that, a lot of it's going to be kind of content wrangling, and then probably some analytics stuff at some point.
I'd throw out just a call out if anybody has ideas on things that might, benefit where you're living here in Alaska, might benefit your community. Just another framing to think about hackathon projects. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't have commercial viability, but has some appeal and value for the community you live in.
So if nothing else, maybe we can make a pitch channel for later on pitches if people want to think of more ideas to put out there. I know there's some people that are just looking to join a team though. But a pitch channel would really help. So I'll make that
another question. Does anybody here have a bike trainer at home with an indoor stationary bicycle? Okay, crickets. I figured as much. I just had a feeling I'd ask.
You need someone to test your bike game, huh?
Yes. I
Is
took
there
another
an emulator?
What's that?
I was wondering if there's an emulator where I can, simulate pedaling with mouse movement.
So you can actually use the keyboard on your computer. It runs in Unity. Yeah, this is a project Jason and I have been working on. It started as a bit of a dare over kind of a weekend. It was basically me just ranting about how the indoor cycling games all suck. And then it turns out Jason's a master game developer. And so we started working on this together. So it's been about a year. Yeah, we're just we're still in the beta testing phase. It's really not friendly for, a consumer, but I figured if there was another developer in here, maybe they'd get a kick out of it. But the prereq would be to have a bike trainer. But maybe we'll work on some multiplayer stuff or something. And if you've got a really funky home network and you want to install Unity, maybe that'd be a fun project that we can tinker on at some point.
I do like the emulator idea. It'd be kind of funny if we could set it to where your phone is a shake weight and you just kind of have to shake it to get the bike moving.
Yes.
I'll think of that.
Yeah. So for those of you wondering, the way that this works is that this is a phone mount right here, and so I just have the bike set up with a carpet slider. So I can turn it right and left. And then as I'm pedaling, that's what would make you go forward. But Jason made a rower mode that is probably pretty similar to a shake weight. It's just forward and back. So.
Yeah, that still works, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we could rock the rower mode at some point. I'll post a link in the Zoom chat to the latest demo of the game.
Is rower mode actually, hooked up to a regulation like rowing machine? Is that the idea?
It's really hacky, but it does kind of work. It's actually just using the accelerometer and gyrotometer independently on the phone to kind of detect when you pull back. So you get a sudden change in acceleration at the kind of apex of the pull. And so it detects that and it just guesses how hard you're pulling. I mean, just makes numbers up basically. But you can get it to move. There's really no way to know how much power you're putting out or how fast you're going or anything like that, but you can kind of guess. And so you detect that. And then so if you kind of steer with the rower, you kind of move left and right. It's really hard to control, but it does sort of work.
I mean, I request an add-on at the risk of it being an entire pivot for you all, but having a Concept 2 rower, which does measure wattage and output, in a steerable mode where you're competing with people on other Concept 2 rowers to outtron them and hem them in, I would definitely play that.
Yeah, I have a Concept 2. I don't know. I don't think the data will at least not the version I have won't send out data, but it has a little thing that has a wattage meter on it. So I'm trying to think of a way to kind of correlate what wattage it puts out, and based on the pull and everything like that. It's fringe though. I mean, I think on a practical level, we have to focus on bikes because there's a lot more available. But yeah, that'd be cool. I would love it if that were practical. We'll look into it.
So I'm going to go out of my comfort zone and say that network thing was me. So I work at GCI. We have network racks and we have systems that record what is in that rack. People manually put in what's at a certain spot, what the equipment is, how it's connected to other pieces of equipment. But sometimes over time, the items that are in those slots might not get correctly recorded if they get moved or changed. So the idea is that I'm trying to think of using like artificial neural networks or some image recognition mechanism that would be able to learn when a rack is empty or not would be the first step. And then further steps would be like what piece of equipment is actually installed at that slot. And who knows from there, like, right, is the equipment on? Can you do a picture from the back that shows the wires, and can you trace them with an image recognition type of thing also? It just depends upon, obviously that wouldn't be able to be accomplished in the weekend. But anyways, I just wanted to, I know we didn't have a lot of conversation about things, so I just wanted to say that idea was from me. Yeah.
Hey, just a thought on that, Jeremy, since I'm kind of a hardware guy at heart. What about the simplest version of that just being rocker switches installed in rails, over the rack, so that if a piece of equipment is installed, the switch is depressed, and then you build an overlay of that?
That would probably work. The problem is that we have way too many racks to do something like that in. And going out and especially in the COVID times we have now, going out and trying to coordinate installing that and taking pieces of equipment out and putting it back in might impact the network devices. So while I think it'd be a great idea to start with, I don't think it'd be easy to implement once things are currently in place. I mean, from an image though, if like, let's say you get a tripod and you put it at the exact same distance back, the exact same distance up to maximize your ability to detect things, you should be able to get a pretty good idea from there based off of the position. Even if you weren't to do anything with neural networks or anything with image recognition, just from that, you might be able to get a pretty good representation of which slots are empty and which ones are not empty.
Jason might know more about this than I do, but I know Vuforia has been in the business of doing detailed tags, both 2D and 3D inferred. So, you could simply put a row of QR codes down your equipment, which would be less disruptive, and then those would register in the system. So you hold, a mobile app up, and every recognizable code, it's able to connect to what piece of equipment that is.
That was one thing that somebody had said, is just putting QR codes on the front of them, which that would be completely feasible. I mean, it would be it would be a lot less technical as well, right? You just find out something you want to use uniquely, maybe the actual identifier of the device, the serial number, whatever, and then you just put that out as like you're saying, print out a QR code for that, stick it on the front, and then you just have to write an app that will read those. And maybe you'd have something at the top that would tell you, this is server room, this is rack, and you'd scan server room, scan row, scan rack, and then you'd start scanning down the list.
I wouldn't even rebuild that wheel. The reason I mentioned Vuforia is I think they have up to 5 tags at once they can see, and each time it sees a tag, that's a database inquiry to connect that.
Oh, it's called Vuforia.
Vuforia, Vuforia. I know it works directly with Unity. I'm not sure how you'd implement it, in Android Studio or Xcode.
Okay.
If you have images, I'd be kind of curious to see basically an example image of before is a cool idea. Another idea is you could use a shader. You could like run a GPU code to see like edge detection, like especially if they had like I'm picturing like a bunch of blue dots. If you had like a grid of an exact number of blue dots, you could like say, okay, that's 17 blue dots. There's not a blue dot there. Then do edge detection on it. And maybe you can actually count them.
Well, I mean, I can't give actual pictures from the server room, but I'd have to go through a process to get that. But I mean, just think about, just random. I'm gonna go to some random picture online. Copy image or copy image link. I'll just put it in the chat. But I mean, just any rack you would see where there would be, it's like 52 tall, and you've got different slots you can put stuff into, like a server room.
I think you'd have to narrow it down. I think the general problem would be hard to solve. But if you had a known kind of angle on a rack, and then you could kind of point out like, this is what empty looks like, this is what full looks like, this is where I expect one to be and not expect it to be, kind of build a grid and point out from there. It'd be cooler. Like actually going back to like what Bradley was mentioning with Vuforia. Vuforia can take a 3D object and make a tag out of it. And so like if you got a statue, it can say, you can like locate the statue from any angle. So that's a point, and then reference that point with their AR systems. So if you had like a model of the actual server thing, you could do that. But that's getting a little more complicated. So you'd have to actually have that server you care about in front of you and take it from like a camera angle from all different positions, and it maps that and creates it. So.
But you wouldn't be able to see it from all those different positions once it's in the rack, right? Because they're basically, each one is like, this big, and they're all, if they're full, right, then they're all stacked on top of each other. And all you can see is the face of it. And
sure.
You wouldn't be able to see the sides or anything else.
Yeah, and I haven't used it that way. I mean, I haven't used it either way, but it's definitely plausible. It might be able to recognize it just upon the face alone, right? Because I mean, the way it's supposed to work is supposed to build this to recognize an object from any angle. So therefore, the front angle would, in theory, potentially be sufficient for recognizing the location in real world space.
Thank you.
When I just typed in the chat, I just want to put out there is creating a API for camera detection to detect proper lines in the road for roads that are covered in snow. So you can tell if you're actually on the road or if you're like, kind of off, how we see that sometimes. We're driving down the road, we can't really see it because it's not plowed properly. Maybe having an overlay of that so it follows the path correctly for self-driving, or maybe an overlay on up on their dashboard to keep them in line.
You said you put the link in the chat?
Oh no, I put that in the pitch. There's some idea out there.
Interesting that both that project, Vince, and Jeremy's project involves some element of SLAM, like simultaneous location and mapping, based on camera input.
Yeah, I have a video where I taped the road and I tried running OpenCV over it, but I didn't get detection right.
And maybe I should unpack that a little, Jeremy. Like another way to go about this would be, to have a good virtual model of your racks, done in Visio or whatever your network planning infrastructure is, and then to simply tag any of them. And Vuforia does this as well, where all you're doing is locating the headset, and then it's saying based on that location, this is a one-to-one map of what your network map shows, so it tells you what should be in those racks. Maybe even going so far as like drawing network activity on each of those ports in real time, so you can sort of see. But that would be another way to sort of come at that problem.
Other than that, did anybody have any questions for the guidelines for Discord or anything? Or how to use Discord at all? Alright, cool. Because if not,
do we have a
yeah.
direct link to the Discord on the front page? Or do we just have it in the Slack?
It's on the HAKathon page on the website.
Yeah. So I think if the next step is we could start moving to doing stuff in the pitches chat and getting teams together. These are ideas that people are going for right now. We have like what 6 so far. But we can always add more.
Yeah. So if you have any ideas that are not captured in the Discord, just let us know. Just ping an admin on any channel, and then we'll create a channel, and then we can go for team formation that way.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we can wrap up here, and let's go to Discord, and we can start organizing and figuring out what projects we all want to work on.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. See you guys over there.